Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hello, everyone. Welcome again to Easy Research Talks. After a very brief break of 1 week, I couldn't show up here last week for the weekly live session on Easy Research Talk. And that was because I went for a quick visit to Nigeria after like 3 years. So I went to Nigeria for a very quick visit, and I couldn't hold the session. And now that I'm back, this is going to be our first one after the short and very quick break. So when I was away, I learned a lot of things, right? And as we always say, that as lifelong learner, right, that I aspire to be. It is your experiences, things you face in life, people you talk with, people you talk to, things you do should be always be an opportunity for you to learn, right? So talking to people back home, I learned a lot of things. And as I was coming back, as I arrived here, I try to put things into perspective. And one of the things that stand out for me is what we are going to be talking about today, which is how to lose an argument. And there's a reason why I said lose, not win, because many of us, when we are arguing, I saw or I noticed that we tend to have the goal of losing than winning the argument, right? We tend to have the goal of losing than winning the argument. And that might be done inadvertently. We might not know that that's what we are doing, but it's what we do. So perhaps when we discuss some of the reasons why we end up losing argument, because if you look around you in your family relation, in your social interactions, in your workplace interactions, one of the things that can quickly tear relationship apart is argument, right? And that's why a lot of people run away from it, right? Because it can quickly degenerate into crisis if you don't know how to manage argument, if you don't know how to hold argument. So, but then again, you can't really run away from this crisis. You can't run away from argument entirely. It does not. If you escape it at work, what about at home between you and your wife, you and your children, you and your people you live or work with or you talk with? So these things sometimes just appear to us without knowing, and if you don't know how to manage them, we kite. So, and that's why we are going to be having that discussion today. And I hope so much that we all going to be learning or taking one or two things out of the discussion today. Shamsuddin Ajalaru, thank you. Welcome back again. I'm saying hello to everyone on Instagram. I don't think there's anyone with us on YouTube, but yeah, we are also live on YouTube. No one on YouTube. And also, I'm saying hello to everyone on Facebook. Like I always say, I want to encourage you to help us share the program, share the session, because if you do, you are going to be helping and benefiting someone. Because, I mean, what we are doing here is nothing entertaining, but it's highly educative. So you will be learning something. And if you already know what I'm talking about, what about those that don't know? Somebody might be learning from this. So that's why you want to help us, share it and make sure we try to make it go wide as much as it can. So I want to start the discussion by the three elements that are very common in every argument that we are having. In every argument, right, like we say in Yoruba, in your jija, whenever you are having argument, anytime that you are having an argument, there are three things that will be present. The goal of you that you are involving in an argument, right? There are different goals that you can set to go into an argument. Just like we have in any type of communication, you can set a goal of maybe, generally we have three types of goal that we set in any type of communication. It could be because you want to inform, or you want to persuade, or you want to make people do something, right? And similarly in argument, you could get into an argument because you want to change people's mind, or because you want to change people's opinion about something. You want to inform them, give them the accurate fact about what they believe in so that they can change their belief, right? And finally, you want to convince them to do something, right? So the language you are going to be using, your approach you are going to be using in any of these three goals differ. If you are convincing someone's opinion, your approach towards that kind of an argument is definitely going to be different from when you are, convincing them to do something. Doing something is at a higher level. Changing people's mind is a bit higher than just informing them. You can say something and I can believe or not believe, I can take it or leave it. But now, when your goal is to change my opinion, you've got more work to do, right? And now, when you want me to do something, you want me to take action, even more difficult work to do, right? So, but whatever you are doing, you must not lose me. If you lose me, if I don't like you, if I don't like what you say, you can never achieve any of these goals. And that's what will take me to the issues that we normally argue on. So, if you look at the rhetoric research, people that do work on or do research on rhetorics, they will tell you that there are three types of things that we argue on. All right? It's either we argue things, issue, conversation might degenerate into argument when it relates to blame. When you are blaming or you want to assign blame to someone, right? Nobody wants to be blamed. So when the issue is about blame, whose fault? Yeah, fault. Nobody wants to take fault. That's why we argue. So that is one of the significant type of issues that we argue on, blame. The second thing is value, right? We argue so much on value, and this is what I found so much in Nigeria. So every conversation usually go back to value, religion issue, right? We always argue on religion a lot. If I'm right or wrong, please let me know. We are always like, okay, those people that killed Deborah, why did they kill Deborah? Is Deborah wrong, or those people that kill her wrong? This issue of value. Why should you do this and not do that? Things like that leads to argument. And the third thing that we argue on is choices, right? So people argue on choice. For example, now I was about to compose the topic for this session. I was thinking, should I use how to win an argument or how to lose an argument? And somebody's choice might be, okay, it's better to say win rather than say lose. So that can lead to an argument, right? So three issues we argue on: value, blame, and choices. Now, the most difficult type of issue to argue on is value. Okay? Blame. Nobody, like I said, nobody likes to take blame. But still, you can find your way around blaming people. It is not good. I can assure you, I can promise you that whenever you are assigning blame, trading blame, it usually degenerates into argument. And that argument might be very light. I promise you that. Choices also, people might be so forgiving and take it light when you are blocking their choice and enforcing your own choice. But I feel that when it's about value, people take it more to heart. They take it more seriously when whatever you are saying or is contradicting their value, or it's kind of obnoxious or abusive or offensive to their own value. I hope I'm on track here. So those are the three things. We've discussed we started from why we argue, right, and what we argue on. So why we argue is probably related to the goal of you that you are getting. Why do we go into an argument? Is it that I want to convince you to believe in something, or I want to convince you to change your attitude, or I want to convince you to do something, right? That's the reason why we argue most of the time. And second thing I'm discussing here is, what do we often argue on? So I'm saying that we often argue on blaming. We want to blame. We don't want to take blame. And you are trying to give me a blame. You are wrong. You are right. You are good. You are bad. This kind of a thing. The second one is value. Okay. Left, right values. And the third one is choices. Okay. Which is better versus which is not. Right. So these are the things that we argue on. But the third one, the third topic, and which is what I am most interested in today, is the language of argument, right? The language. What are the better language? What is the best language to use when you are having an argument, especially with serious people in your life? Because if you don't know the proper language to use in an argument, and you are someone that is interested in talking or in engaging with people, you will always find yourself in trouble because you don't know the right and wrong language to manage argument, right? Thank you. Adeola Akolawole Crown says we are enjoying you, sir. Thank you so much. And I'm enjoying the fact that you are here with me. So let's get into it. Before I go on, let me quickly, I don't want to bore you with type of argument. There are basically three types of argument. Okay, we have three types of argument. Any type of issues that you are having, any type of purpose or goal that gets you into an argument, you will find that you find yourself in these three types of argument most often. The first one, the first type of argument, which is very bad. Whenever you find yourself in this type of argument, based on the language you are using, it's your responsibility to change the language and change the argument. So the first one is the demonstrative argument. When we are arguing to show that I am right and the other person is wrong, you want to demonstrate your own veracity, you want to validate yourself, you want to ascertain your own point, you want to, make your own point to be firm than the other person. That's demonstrative, right? So if you are in a demonstrative argument, you tend to use present tense. You use present tense. This is what it is. This is how it goes. This is what, this kind of present language, because here now, you all must leave this conversation and agree with me and believe me and accept my point. So that's what demonstrative argument is all about. The second type of whatever, Ustaz Imam Olatoyin Abdul Karim, thank you for the prayer. Thank you so much. I mean, I wish you the same too. So, the second type of argument is forensic argument. Now, forensic argument have to do with sort of like investigation, past tense. When you are having argument and then you are using past tense, that's how you did. That is what you said. That is, when you refer back to issues of the past, that is what we call the forensic argument. Again, this type of argument is bad. It usually leads to conflict. You will lose people, you will lose friends, you might lose family members, you might lose relationship if you are the type that use your energy in demonstrative argument, that is the argument of proving I'm right, I'm the best, I know it all, or the forensic argument, the investigative argument that looks into history, into record. This is what you said. This is what you believe in. This is what Oh, Ustaz Lukman Muzadu say, I'm indeed learning. Thank you for your comment. I appreciate that. So, the third one, which is the best, is the deliberative argument. We argue deliberatively, right? We focus on the future. So any good communicator would be arguing for common goal. What can I learn from what you are saying? What can you learn from what I'm saying? And if that is your purpose, you will focus on the topic. rather on the language or on the behavior or on the attitude or on the history of the person you are arguing with, right? Because that is what confuses us mostly when we are arguing. When we are focusing on the language, on the attitude, because I argue with you in the morning or you saw me 2 months ago and I used to believe in something, that doesn't mean that another issue will come up and then I will also disagree, right? But for someone that is more of forensic, he will be telling or she will be telling himself or herself that, oh, that's how he disagreed with me last year. And then automatically he will think that I will disagree with you today, right? So I hope that is enough introduction of what I'm about to discuss, right? So I've talked a lot about, three things here. The goal of coming into an argument. Second thing we talk about is the type of things we argue on. I said three things: issues, values, and choices. And then the language or the type of argument. I said the deliberative, the forensic, and the demonstrative. And I said, and soon, you are going to see why I said the two type, the demonstrative and the forensic argument usually leads to crisis. Okay, you will soon see that. And the only type of argument that you should always focus and restrict yourself on is the deliberative one. Argument you know, to achieve a purpose, to clarify an understanding, to lay a fact, to debunk a fallacy. These are arguments that can never degenerate into conflict. So how do we do that? How do we do that? Number one, when you are in a deliberative argument, don't forget I said the language of the deliberative argument is the future tense. You focus on the future. So, number one way to do that, the number one language is not to assign blame. You know, be careful when you are having argument with people, and not to say that you did this, it's your fault, it's your mistake, you are wrong. This kind of thing, it's judging and labeling and putting people in a you painting people with a color and a paint that they might not be comfortable with. Now, if you do that, you are leaving the issue and focusing on the personality, because it's someone that can be mistaken, not issue, right? So focus on the issue and not to blame the person that you are arguing with. Don't tell them that you are dumb. Why do you think this way? These kind of things. Because they will reply you when you say that. When you tell them that they are wrong, they are usually looking at how they can show that you are also wrong. And then all of you leave the issues, and then it turns into fighting. And then the purpose of the argument is misdirected, right? So the first thing is assigning blame. Be careful. To assign blame is to look at the past, is to look at the past. Sometimes before you can say somebody is at fault, you want to look at their record, their past, what have they been saying, and things like that, rather than focusing on the fact. You see, people say you are entitled to your opinion, your opinion, but they always forget the other side of this argument, that you are not entitled to your fact. Okay? You are not entitled to your fact. Nobody will disagree with a fact if it's a fact. So for anybody that wants to argue, your responsibility, your job is to honestly, I'm underlining the word honestly now, and I will explain what I mean by honesty, is to honestly make the fact available to the other side. And when I say honestly in communication, it means to be clear. To be clear is what honesty means in communication. Because let's come to think of it. Most of the time, the reason why we are angry is that we are not willing to put the power into explaining things enough to be clear to people, right? We are not honest in that communication. So when people ask us, what do you mean? You feel like, why are you asking me what I mean? How do you mean? You are angry already because you are not honest in that communication. If you are honest, you should never be lazy or be sad or be angry to re-explain whatever point you are trying to make to people. I hope I'm making sense here. So again, the first reason why you will lose an argument is when you assign blame to people. Focus on the issue and look away from blaming who is wrong, whose fault is. Don't use your energy in fault finding. Right? That's the first one. And if you look at that, you will see that it relates more to the forensic argument. And that's the reason why I said forensic argument is a very wrong approach to argument, because you are investigating this person's behavior. You are not focusing on the issue. Number two is when you are trying to identify the origin of the argument, it's also wrong, because to do that is to look, see, to achieve the first point at blaming people, sometimes what we do is we try to look for the origin. You started it. You are the one that said this, and then I now said this. I hope everyone listening to me can relate to what I'm saying. You've seen a lot of time when people are arguing and it degenerated into conflict, and then you ask them what happened, and you will see that what they are trying to do is to identify the origin of the argument. So last week I was now going, he now saw me and he didn't greet me. So I now see him today, and then I didn't greet him, and then he now slapped me. And so looking for the origin of an argument sometimes distract us, from focusing on the real issue. Try as much as possible whenever you're arguing with people not to look into the past, because looking for the origin of an argument will distract you. And I notice I do this a lot sometimes. So most of what I'm talking about today, it's a lesson to myself, as well as it can be also a lesson to anyone listening. It's not as if I'm all perfect myself. No, I make some of this mistake too when I'm talking to people. But I'm just saying that my experience back home in Nigeria, this is a perspective I saw, I noticed, and if I can control myself not to do this next time I'm talking to people, I think I will be a better person. And if you've never been there, or if you've never experienced any of this, you are even better, because now you are getting informed on whenever you have arguments with people. Try as much as possible to do away with the origin of the argument. Right? That's my number 2 point. And number 3 is getting historical. It's kind of relates to looking to the origin, but historical is unique in the sense that now you are focusing on the last argument you have with that person, or the last conversation we had with that person. And what you are doing is you are going to be, compelling yourself to judge this person based on the last argument and not what you are discussing right now. Because you will remember that last time he didn't agree with you. Then because of that, he will not agree this time. Or sometimes it might be that we get historical, and then you remember what the person said. You remember he used this word, and you are relaying the word in a new argument. You are saying, you told me that you don't believe in this thing. You told me that I'm not serious about this thing. But what you might forget is that communication, every communication is a multi-complex channel event. When I'm talking to you right now, you are not just getting my word. Yeah, you are getting my facial expression with it. You are getting my tonation, my tone with it, right? My body language comes with what I'm communicating with you. But if you want to relay what I'm saying to people, it's most likely that you will leave out my tone, the tone of my word. It's possible that you leave out the way I'm expressing whatever I'm saying, because you can only give them half of what I said. Now, if you are bringing back as a proof to an argument, you most likely will be, nailing the other person wrongly. And I'll give you an instance. Let me give you an instance. You see, sometimes we watch movie and we see in movies where in courts, right? They will say, okay, bring proof of what you said on this so date. And then they will play the video. This kind of thing only work well in movies, in courtrooms, but in human to human relationship, because I said something, sometimes you can tell someone that you are not serious, and the other person is laughing, even though it might be abusive, right? It might it might be an insult, but because of the way I said it, you are not serious, and I'm laughing. I don't think I don't think you are all right. I said something like this, and I'm laughing. The other person will take it as a joke, right? But if another person, a third party now, is going to say this about me to other person, or the person I said it to is going to use this expression that the one said, I am not serious. Now, he is only saying what I said, leaving out the environment, the expression, the the tone that comes with it. And that's why you don't want to be historical in an argument. That I have this argument with you before, and this is what you said. You can never be right. You can never be right. Because maybe I could say yes when you are having an argument with me. And all yes I'm saying is just to, let you go on. Not because I'm saying yes to what you are saying. So in a new argument, you don't bring it back that you said yes. Yeah, last time I was talking to you about this, you said yes. No, only if I am the one that want to use it as a proof of my argument. I hope I'm making sense. I don't want to overbeat this point, but hey, if you don't always want to lose people, if you don't want to cause problem with people, because you can't run away from argument, you can't run away from conflict, like I said at the beginning. If you can do away with it at work, it's not likely that you can do away with it at home. Your wife will have you will argue with your wife, certainly, right? So you must be able to manage it so that it doesn't always degenerate to anger, fighting, and and animosity and all of these things. You will argue with your children, right? If not now, maybe when they grow older, you will argue with people that are important in your life. So it's important to know the language of argument. So the third thing you don't want to do, the first one I said, don't assign blame. Don't focus on you are wrong, I'm right. It's your fault, it's not my fault. Nobody will want to accept blame. I said that. Number two is don't focus on the origin of the argument, how it started, who said what first, who started this thing, who did it first. When we won't let go, we won't let go. If I are still focusing on you did it first, and people sometimes the most amazing, I don't want to say amazing, amusing. I find it so amusing when people say, I said it to you because of what you said to me. I mean, that is fighting, that is not an argument, right? So number four is reading from record, No, actually, I've talked about number four. Number five is malice. You cannot be productive in any argument when malice is present. And sometimes we don't know there is malice. So how do you know that hey, this argument there's a presence of malice in the argument? You can only win argument, you can only even have argument in the absence of malice. So malice is present when you are not appraising people's point. Like, okay, we are arguing on an issue that maybe the point, I mean, let me look for a ridiculous topic. We might say, Ridwan is a white person, okay? As obvious as it is that I am very black, let's say the point of the argument is either I'm white or black, or either I'm from Nigeria or from Kosovo, something like that. Now, somebody is now saying that the way his hair is or his eye is, it looks like people from West African. That's the first point the other person is saying. Before I can disagree or say anything, a rebuttal to whatever they said, I must be able to appraise them. Okay, I accept this. I do not accept this. If you don't do that, there's a presence of malice in that argument. And then the environment of the argument will be corrupted. And then you are going nowhere. You are going nowhere. Thank you so much, Abdul Kudus Oluwashola Miftahuddin. I appreciate your comment. So, and then you are going to be corrupting the environment of the argument with that malice. So, learn how to appraise the other person you are talking to. Yeah, I appreciate that. Even if you don't agree with it, I appreciate that school of thought. I appreciate the way you interpret that. I didn't even think of it this way. However, then you bring your own point in. That's how to to kill malice in an argument. If you don't kill it, the environment is, corrupted, and no communication can ever be effective in a corrupted environment. And the last point I'm going to be pointing at today is reversal. I have kind of hinted to that earlier on. See, reversal is kind of a strategy, a defensive strategy, right? That we use. Imagine you are stuck in a tunnel, la samahallah. Imagine you are stuck in a tunnel and somebody throw a grenade inside the tunnel. What we do is we quickly throw out the grenade, right? I've been watching so much war-related movies, so apology for that kind of war example. But hey, the way we defend ourselves is to throw what people throw to us back to them. It doesn't help argument, right? So if you are the one that know, don't do it. Don't blame people. Thank you, Dr. Ravi. Nice one, Dr. Radu. Keep it up. Thank you so much, Dr. Ravi. I appreciate that comment. So I'm saying here is that most of the time, the reason why things get into crisis, into conflict in argument is that we tend to be reversal. We are focusing on what they say to you. Okay, this person has said that you are wrong. You are not focusing on the issue anymore. Either the one is white or black. You are going to be focusing on how can I show that he's also wrong. That's going to be our focus. And with doing that, I'm going to be looking for something that will pain him or her as much as what he said pains me or hurts me. Right? So reversal is a very wrong approach in argument. When you argue to return what people are throwing at you, sometimes people might not be as patient as you are. People might not have the same exposure, the same knowledge as yourself. But when you see them, mistaken or saying something that you can't take, don't use the reversal language. If you are so much interested in the argument, you have to, contain yourself and remain on course that, hey, what you have just said is not about me. You are not talking to me. But let me continue about it. It's hard. I know it's difficult to do. But if you can do it, that will help you to win arguments rather than losing friends, losing partners, losing important people in your life. So that's the 6th point I try to bring to you guys today. I hope somebody have learned something. And my plan today is to also summarize what I'm talking about in Yoruba language. Because again, another thing that I learned in Nigeria is that majority of my viewers are Yoruba speakers. Dr. Hector, apology to you. I know you are with me on Instagram. But yeah, this is an opportunity for you to learn Yoruba language. So, in Kota Soleni, ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú pé báwo nìyàn ṣe máa ń win argument ìyàn jíjà. Because ìdí tí ìyàn jíjà fi jẹ́ nǹkan tó yẹ kí ìyàn gbọ́dọ̀ mọ̀ láti ṣe ni pé yes, Dr. Abi, an opportunity for you to learn Yoruba language. Dr. Abi, Yoruba is very important, right? So let's do it. So I was saying that ìdí tí èèyàn gbọ́dọ̀ fi mọ bí èèyàn ṣe ń argue ni pé kò sí tàbí ṣùgbọ́n tí èèyàn ò fi ní pàdé èèyàn jíjà. Tí èèyàn ò bá pàdé ẹ̀ níbi tí èèyàn ti ń ṣiṣẹ́, èèyàn á pàdé ẹ̀ láàrin ẹbí, èèyàn á pàdé ẹ̀ láàrin ọ̀rẹ́. Nǹkan bí méjì á ṣẹlẹ̀ tó ṣe pé á lead sí pé a máa jiyàn. Kò ń ṣe orí ibú ni kíyàn jiyàn, kò burú pé èèyàn ń jiyàn láàrin èèyàn. Bọ́n tí ò dá ni pé kíyàn má mọ bí èèyàn ṣe ń jiyàn. Torí pé tíyàn ò bá mọ̀, ìyẹn á padà máa gbogbo èèyàn jíjà tíyàn bá wà, tíyàn bá pàdé, á padà máa lead sí jà. Dandan dẹ̀ kọ́ ni kí ìyàn tíyàn bá ń jiyàn tí àjọ gbọ́ra wáyé, dandan kọ́ ni kó lead sí ìjà. Ṣé ń get me? So, mo wá ní kí n tó lọ, màá kọ́kọ́ ṣàlàyé. Mo ti gbọ́. Thank you, Dr. ABC. We are moving on. Mo ti gbọ́. So, like, I started from ibi tí mo ti bẹ̀rẹ̀ ni pé nǹkan mẹ́ta ó ṣe kókó ní gbogbo ìyàn tó ń tíyàn bá fẹ́ jà, gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tíyàn máa ń báyàn sọ. Àkọ́kọ́ ni pé kí ló fẹ́ gbé ìwọ gangan tó o fẹ́ bá wọn sọ̀rọ̀? Kí ló ń gbé ẹ? Kí ni àníyàn ẹ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ tẹ́ ẹ fẹ́ sọ yẹn? kí ló fẹ́ achieve? Ṣé o fẹ́ change ìgbàgbọ́ wọn ni? Àbò fẹ́ change ìròrí wọn? Àbò fẹ́ jẹ́ kí wọ́n ṣe nǹkan kan fún ẹ? Nǹkan mẹ́ta tí ó máa ń gbéyàn sọ̀rọ̀, ẹni ọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n fẹ́ sọ nìyẹn. Inú kó jẹ́ pé mo fẹ́ change ìgbàgbọ́ ẹ nìyí, àbí mo fẹ́ change ntẹ́ni yìí mọ̀ kí n correct ẹ̀, àbí mo fẹ́ kẹ́ni yìí ṣe nǹkan fún mi. Àkọ́kọ́ nìyẹn. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì tó tún máa ń wà nígbà tí èèyàn bá ń jiyàn, ẹni èèyàn tó bá wùn kíyàn máa jà ni pé, ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì tó máa ń wà ń bẹ̀ ni pé kí la fẹ́ jiyàn lé lórí. So mo wá ní nǹkan mẹ́ta ló máa ń fa ìyàn ni a máa ń sábà jiyàn lé lórí. A máa ń jiyàn lórí pé ta ló lẹ̀bi, ṣé n tó ṣẹlẹ̀ iṣẹ́ bí mi ni àbẹ́bí tiẹ̀. Gbogbo ẹ̀dá ènìyàn kò dẹ̀ sẹ́ni tó fẹ́ gbẹ̀bí pé mi mo lẹ̀bi. So nígbà tó bá ti tọ́rọ̀ bá ti ṣẹlẹ̀, tọ́rọ̀ yẹn bá ti wá ní ṣe pé ta ló jàre, ta ló jẹ̀bi, ta ló wà lórí òtítọ́, ta ló wà lórí irọ́, ó máa ń sábà lead sí ìyàn jíjà. Oh, I love this. Even me myself, I'm enjoying my Yoruba language. Somebody comment, tell me if you are feeling me, if you are feeling my Yoruba language. So ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì òun ni pé tọ́rọ̀ bá ti ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ìgbàgbọ́, value ni àwọn ìgbàgbọ́ tí ó ń control àbí tó ń guide ìṣesí èèyàn, ìjẹ́mọ̀ ènìyàn. Ìpìlẹ̀ pé tó bá fẹ́ júwe pé ta ni ẹ́, value ẹ wà lára tí wọ́n máa fi júwe ẹ pé lágbájá báyìí Yorùbá ni, Mùsùlùmí ni, Kírísítẹ́nì ni, Haúsá ni, Fúlàní ni. So àwọn kíní yẹn ló máa ń control, ló máa ń darí ìjẹ́ èèyàn wa. So value a máa wá fa ìyàn jíjà, yẹn a máa jiyàn lórí value náà tún máa ń relate sígbà míì sẹ́sìn. Mo wá nígbà tí mo wá sí Nàìjíríà láìpẹ́ yìí, tí mo bá pàdé jù nìyẹn, àwọn èèyàn jiyàn lórí value púpọ̀, value topic, value related topic. I'm feeling you, sir. Thank you Mubarak, thank you. So ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹta òun ni pé irú èdè wo ni èèyàn máa ń lò tí èèyàn bá fẹ́ jiyàn. Mo wá ní èdè tí n bá fẹ́ lò ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú pé kí ló gbé ẹ wá jiyàn. Ṣé mo fẹ́ change ìgbàgbọ́ ẹ ni, àbí ṣé mo fẹ́ change ìhùwàsí ẹ, àbí mo fẹ́ ní kó ṣe nǹkan fún mi. Èdè tí màá sọ máa yàtọ̀ nígbà tí n bá fẹ́ change opinion ẹ, nígbà tí n bá fẹ́ change ìwà ẹ, nígbà tí n bá fẹ́ change ìrònú ẹ. In tó bá wùn kí n fẹ́ ṣe, àbí in tó bá wùn kí n fẹ́ ṣe, èdè tí màá lò nínú argument yẹn ló máa determine pé ṣé wàá gbà sí mi lẹ́nu àbó ní gbà sí mi lẹ́nu. Now mo wá ní irú ìyàn jíjà mẹ́ta ló wà. Ìkan wà tá à ń pè ní demonstrative argument. Demonstrative argument ní í ṣe pẹ̀lú pé kíyàn máa argue pẹ̀lú èèyàn láti jẹ́ kí Dr. Imelda, are you just teasing me? How are you sure that I am right? You can't understand my language, do you? I don't think you do. So I'm saying that the deliberative argument òun ní ṣe pẹ̀lú demonstrative argument ní ṣe pẹ̀lú pé mo fẹ́ proof pé èmi ni mo right, n fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ mọ̀ pé ntẹ́mi ń sọ yìí òun lọ́nà, ntẹ́ni yẹn ń sọ wrong, ntẹ́mi ń sọ yìí òun lòdodo, ntẹ́ni ẹni kejì ń sọ irọ́ ló ń pa. Tó bá ti já níyàn wa nìyẹn, language wa, èdè tá a máa lò nínú ìyàn jíjà yẹn a máa ní ṣe pẹ̀lú pé ọ̀rọ̀ a máa lo kí ni Yorùbá ń pè present tense. Wow, that's a good one. What do we call present tense in Yoruba language? A máa ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ ṣe sìn pé ẹ wo bẹ́ ṣe ń wò mí yìí o, èmi ni mo right o. So tó bá ti jẹ́ pàníyàn mi ni pé mo fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ mọ̀ pé mi ni mo right? So màá máa focus lórí pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe máa gbà mí gbọ́n sínsìn, so that tá bá máa parí ọ̀rọ̀ yìí, gbogbo yẹn á fi àyè yìí lẹ̀ lẹ́ni tó mọ̀ pé èmi ni mo right, ẹnìyẹn ló wrong. So gbogbo ohun tí n bá lè ṣe tẹ́ máa fi gbà bẹ́ẹ̀ ni màá máa sọ lọ́rọ̀, ni màá máa wù níwà. Demonstrative nìyẹn. Abdulgani igi gan. I'm sorry, I don't know if I pronounced that right. Igi gangan. I like your talk. Keep it up. Thank you so much. I like your comment too. So the second one, ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì, òun ni forensic. Forensic yẹn ní ṣe pẹ̀lú pé ká fojú sí n tó ti lọ sẹ́yìn. A fẹ́ jẹ́ kí argument yẹn ó máa focus lórí past tense. A focus lórí pé ta ló jẹ̀bi, ta ló jàre, lórí nǹkan kan tó ti ṣẹlẹ̀ sẹ́yìn. Tá bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ ẹ̀ pé ní ta ló pa Bọ́lá Ìgè, a lè fi yẹn ṣe example, ta ló pa Bọ́lá Ìgè, àwọn báyìí ló pa ṣe mọ̀ a lè ágì lórí ẹ̀. Tó bá jẹ́ pé n tá ágì lórí nìyẹn, èdè tá máa lò, èdè ọ̀rọ̀ àná la máa sọ, àbí bẹ́ẹ̀ kọ́, èdè ọ̀rọ̀ tó ti lọ sẹ́yìn. Mo wá ní méjèèjì tí mo ṣàlàyé síwájú yìí, lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọgbà tó bá ti jẹ́ pé yẹn nìyẹn ń ágì lé lórí, a máa lead síjà. Tó bá ti jẹ́ pé demonstrative ni, mo fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ mọ̀ pé mi mo right, èmi mo wrong. Tó bá ti jẹ́ forensic ni, mo fẹ́ jẹ́ kẹ́ mọ̀ pé ta ló jẹ̀bi, ta ló jàre. Kò sí tàbí ṣùgbọ́n á lead síjà. Àmọ́ ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹta, òun ni deliberative. So deliberative ni ìyàn jíjà tó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú wípé láti jọ gbọ́ra wáyé. Ó dá kí ni wọ́n gbọ́yé, kí lèmi gbọ́yé, báyìí lèmi ṣe gbọ́yé, báyìí ni mo ṣe rí sí, báwo ni wọ́n ṣe rí sí. Eléyìí a máa wá ní ṣe pẹ̀lú ọ̀rọ̀ wájú future tense. A máa sábà lo future tense nínú ẹ̀ torí pé àníyàn wa lórí irú argument báyìí ni pé a fẹ́ tún ra wa ṣe. Ẹni tó bá fẹ́ wà ní deliberative argument, a mọ̀ pé ó ṣeéṣe kó yẹ pé gbogbo ohun tí mo mọ̀ kọ́ ló right o. Ó dẹ̀ ṣeéṣe kó yẹ pé gbogbo ohun tẹ́ni yín sọ kọ́ ló wrong o. Àwa jọ gbọ́ra wa. Tí n bá gbọ́yé, màá béèrè lọ́wọ́ ẹ̀ pé n tó sọ yẹn mi gbọ́yé tún sọ. So irú argument tí yẹn gbọ́dọ̀ máa make sure kó ń wà nínú ẹ̀ ní deliberative argument. I'm enjoying Yoruba language so much. I'm enjoying Yoruba language. If you are just joining us, you don't be surprised that, oh, is it Yoruba today? No, I've actually I've spoken English earlier on, and now I'm summarizing it in Yoruba. So, and I said, now, mo wá ní mẹ́fà ni àwọn pọ́ìntì tó ṣe pé ní mo mú wálé ni tí a lè fi correct ara wa lórí pé báwo ni àwọn èèyàn jíjà tí a bá bára wa nínú òṣè ní máa lead síjà lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ gbà. Torí pé gẹ́gẹ́ bí mo ṣe sọ, a lè sá fún. Tíyàn bá sá fún bí iṣẹ́, ilé ńkọ́? Tíyàn bá sá fún láàrin ìyàwó, àwọn ọmọ ńkọ́? Tíyàn bá sá fún láàrin àwọn ọmọ, àwọn ará àdúgbò ńkọ́? Ìyàn ṣáà ni máa lọ dágbénugbó dandan. Àsìkò kan á máa wà, ìṣẹ̀lẹ̀ kan á máa ṣẹlẹ̀ tó ṣe pé ní a máa da ìwà àtèèyàn pọ̀ pé ẹjọ́ ń jiyàn. Èmi wá ń sọ pé kò ń ṣe dandan ni pé èèyàn ń báyàn jiyàn kó lead sí ìjà. How are you, brother? Dr. Ahmed, I'm very fine. So I said the first one, right? The first point is, whenever you are assigning blame, when you are focusing your energy on assigning blame, that who is right, who is wrong, ta ló jẹ̀bi? Tó bá ti jẹ́ pé èròǹgbà ẹ ni pé a fẹ́ jiyàn yìí ò kí n lè bá a sọ pé lágbájá yìí èèyàn burúkú ni. Tó bá ti jẹ́ pà níyẹn nìyẹn lórí ìyàn jíjà tó bá ń jà pé lágbájá yìí kèfèrí ni, lágbájá yìí kò ń ṣolódodo. Tó bá ti jẹ́ pà níyẹn nìyẹn láti blame, kò sí alídì síjà torí kò sẹ́ni tó máa gbé ebú. Tó bá ti jẹ́ pé o fẹ́ blame èèyàn ni, ẹnìyẹn ò ní gbà wá sọ ti ẹni á dá tiẹ̀ padà bó ṣe lòun kó jẹ́, tí ò bá dá padà lójú ẹ á dá padà lẹ́yìn. In tí ìyàn jíjà fi máa ń lead sí ìjà nìyẹn. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kejì, òun ni pé ká máa fẹ́ mọ̀ pé ta ni ó kọ́kọ́ bẹ̀rẹ̀, ta lálábùrú èèyàn, ta ló dálẹ̀, ta ló dọ́lọ̀ yìí lẹ̀. So nínú ìyàn jíjà tó bá ti jẹ́ pé èròǹgbà wa ni pé a fẹ́ mọ̀ pé ta ló dálẹ̀, àwọn ajá nìyẹn. Inú ká discuss, ká sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ní tó ṣẹlẹ̀, ká fẹ́lẹ́bi, ká ní ẹni tí ó máa bínú kó má bínú, ẹni tó máa jàre kó má jàre. Lagata all the way from Ishaga, thank you so much, well said. I appreciate your comment. So I'm saying here that, apology for that noise, those are my children. So I'm saying here that tó bá ti jẹ́ wípé ń ta gbàlérò lórí argument yìí ni pé a fẹ́ mọ̀ ta ló dálẹ̀, a ní ever yanjú ẹ̀ pẹ̀lú peace ó máa lead síjà kò sí tàbí ṣùgbọ́n. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹta, òun ni wípé ká máa read from record. Now this is the difficult one. Reading from record has to do with, òyìn ní ṣe pẹ̀lú pé kí n wo pé Lagata tájọ́ ń jiyàn yìí ní ìsìn. Èmi àti Lagata sì jiyàn last week. Ìyàn tá rẹ̀ jà yẹn mọ̀ pé Lagata PDP ni Lagata support. Àwa ń jiyàn lénìí, màmá wa ronú bí Lagata ṣe sọ̀rọ̀ sún mi lánàá pé PDP ni Lagata ń ṣe. So dandan kọ́ tá bá ń sọ̀rọ̀ lénìí sí dandan kò tún ní gbà nítorí pé ọ̀rọ̀ tá ń sọ yìí ọ̀rọ̀ APC ni gẹ́gẹ́ bí àpèjúwe Lagata, right? So tíyàn bá ń ronú pé pass, báwo lẹni yìí ṣe sọ̀rọ̀ lánàá, kí ló believe lánàá, kí ló sọ lánàá. Mo ní ìdí tí a fi ní gbọ́dọ̀ máa ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ nínú tá bá ń jiyàn ni pé tá a bá ń bára wa sọ̀rọ̀ báyìí, ṣe rí in tíyàn fi ń gbọ́rọ̀ yé nínú gbogbo ọ̀rọ̀ tíyàn bá ń sọ, ó kọjá èdè tá ń sọ yìí. Ó tún ní ṣe pẹ̀lú bá ṣe ń ṣojú, ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú bóun wá ṣe lọ sókè sí bó ṣe wálẹ̀ sí, ó ní ṣe pẹ̀lú pé ńgbà tí mo sọ ṣé mo rẹ́rìn àbí mo lejú. Tẹ́ ẹ bá wá fẹ́ sọ pé báyìí ni mo sọ lánàá, in tí mo sọ nìkan lẹ̀ ẹ́ sọ fáwọn èèyàn, ẹ ní sọ fáwọn èèyàn pé ńgbà tó sọ tó ń rẹ́rìn o. Tẹ́ ẹ bá dẹ̀ ti sọ bẹ́ẹ̀, jíṣẹ́ yẹn pé. Tẹ́ ẹ bá ti wá jíṣẹ́ yẹn pé, tẹ́ ẹ bá wá lórú ọ̀rọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ nu argument, kò sí bí ó ṣe ní di inú kó dùn mí pé ẹ sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ pé ṣé bí mo fi ń bá yín ṣeré ni tí mo kàn sọ pé you are not serious àbí ṣó gbádùn ṣá. Ẹ mọ̀ lédè Yorùbá máa ń sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ nígbà ṣó gbádùn ṣá. Ṣó gbádùn ṣá yẹn a lè sọ nígbà míì kó jẹ́ ebú, a lè sọ nígbà míì kó jẹ́ pé ẹni tẹ́ bá sọ gan ò ní rí bí nǹkan kan. So tẹ́ bá wá fẹ́ lò pé ní ṣe bí nígbà tí mo sọ lánàá ó sọ pé ṣé mo gbádùn ṣá, ó ní sọ pé nígbà tí mo sọ mo rẹ́rìn. Tó o bá ti lè sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ kí ni kò sí point tó ń lò yẹn, o ṣàbòsí mi nìyẹn, right? So torí ẹ̀ ní kọ́ tíyẹn máa ń báyàn jiyàn, ìyẹn ò ní gbẹ̀mí sí kí lẹ́ni yẹn sọ lánàá, kí ló sọ ń jẹta, ìyẹn á gbẹ̀mí sí pé kí là ń sọ̀rọ̀ lórí ẹ̀ lọ́wọ́ yìí, àìlè ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀, ìyẹn wọ́n wàhálà nìyẹn, ìyẹn fẹ́ lùzọ onítọ̀hún nìyẹn, ó máa dìjà láàrin yín. Ẹbẹ̀ kọ́, so ẹ lọ wo gbogbo àwọn tó máa ń ti ọ̀rọ̀ mọ́rọ̀ pé ní last week náà, ní last year náà bó ṣe sọ nìyẹn o, ṣe mọ̀ pé gbà tọ́rọ̀ báyìí ṣẹlẹ̀, ṣe mọ̀ pé n tó sọ náà nìyẹn. In tẹ́ ń ṣe yẹn fáwọn tó ń gbọ́ yín, ẹ fẹ́ sọ ẹni tẹ́ ń sọ̀rọ̀ ń pẹ̀ dá láì dání, kò ń ṣe pé ọ̀rọ̀ tó ṣẹlẹ̀ lẹ fẹ́ yanjú. Torí pé lílọ sẹ́yìn yẹn kò sí bẹ́ẹ̀ ṣe lè mú ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn wá ní pípé, àbọ̀ ẹ lẹ́ máa mú wá. In tó dé tẹ́ni yẹn fi sọ bẹ́ẹ̀ ní sọmọ́, torí ẹ̀yin gan lè rántí n tó sọ. Báwo ló ṣe sọ, báwo ló ṣe gbé kalẹ̀ ẹ lè sọ, tẹ́ ẹ bá dẹ̀ ti lè sọ, gbogbo n tẹ́ bá ń sọ àbòsílẹ̀ ń ṣe fún. Mo rò pé ọ̀rọ̀ mi yé. If I'm shouting, I'm sorry. There's no way you speak Yoruba without shouting. And this is my first time doing this. Now, malice. Igi ganga. Wow, that name is really hard for me. So, point ẹlẹ́ẹ̀karùn-ún, òun ni malice. Odi. Ìgbà míì àmọ̀ pa ń bẹ́ni tá ń bá jiyàn yóò di. Ṣẹ́ni tí àníyàn òdì bá ti wà lẹ́mìí wa, kò ní jẹ́ ká máa ṣe nǹkan méjì. Tá a bá ti wá ṣe nǹkan méjì nínú ìyàn jíjà, kò sí bí yàn ṣe lè get outcome tó wà positive nínú ìyàn yẹn, nínú àríyànjiyàn tá à ń jọ nìyẹn. Àkọ́kọ́ ni pé tíyàn bá ti ní àníyàn òdì sẹ́mi pé ẹ̀mọ̀ kí lè ń sọ. Tó bá ti yẹ pé àníyàn yàn nìyẹn. In tó bá sọ, àní àpèsè, àní sọ pé bẹ́ẹ̀ ni ọ̀rọ̀ tó sọ, èyí tó bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀ ló ṣe rí. Èyí tí ò bá rí bẹ́ẹ̀, àní lè sọ pé kò rí bẹ́ẹ̀. Àwa máa focus lórí tiwa ní pé gbà tó ti sọ báyìí jẹ́ kí mi náà sọ báyìí, gbà tó sọ báyìí jẹ́ kí mi náà sọ báyìí, tó sọ yẹn ó sọ̀rọ̀ sí mi nìyẹn, èmi náà gbọ́dọ̀ dá padà. Ló máa sọ bẹ́ẹ̀, onítọ̀hún fẹ́ bẹ́ẹ̀ yan dì. Tó bá ti jẹ́ pé èèyàn bá báyàn yan dì, kọ́ ti máa sọ ọ̀rọ̀ báyẹn, ṣe sọ. Tó bá fẹ́ mọ bó ṣe sọ, wàá padà lọ bá létà ní, kò ń ṣe ibi tẹ́tí ń jiyàn yẹn ló máa béèrè pé báwo ló ṣe máa sọ. Ẹlẹ́ẹ̀kẹfà, òun ni èsì. In tó dẹ̀ pọ̀ jù láyé ń sìn nìyẹn, kíyàn máa fèsì. Ìfẹ́ èsì téèyàn bá wà lórí fíìmù, pé èsì ọ̀rọ̀ fún. Ẹni tó bá fẹ́ báyàn argue, ẹni yẹn kọ́ ni wàá dárúkọ. Ibi tọ́pìkì lè máa ti mọ̀ pé ẹni yìí ò mọ ohun tó ń jẹ́ argument. Tó bá sọ pé èsì ọ̀rọ̀ fún Rídíwánù, èmi ló fẹ́ bá mi jà ní ẹ̀. Tọ́pìkì yẹn ni wàá dì mú pé mo fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lórí bẹ́mi ṣe rí pípa Deborah. Kò ń ṣe pé lórí pípa Deborah, tó bá fi lè dárúkọ mi sí, èmi ló fẹ́ bá jà. Mo rò pé ọ̀rọ̀ mi yé. So lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọgbà táníyàn wa bá ti di pé mo fẹ́ fèsì, láláì ní mọ̀ lára wa gan, àwa náà lè máa mọ̀ pé à ń ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀. Wà á rí pé ní ìdẹ́ fẹ́ fi dá lóhùn, ó dàbí pé ju bọ́ǹbù yàn grenade táwọn àmì máa ń lò, kíyàn náà wá sáré mu kó sáré báńgà ló yẹ kí n lò. Ó dàbí kíyàn ju báńgà, kíyàn sáré mú báńgà yẹn kó ju padà. Èsì nìyẹn. Torí irú báńgà tí wọ́n sọ sí ẹ náà ló fẹ́ sọ sí wọn padà. get the sense of what I'm talking about. I hope I can do better than this. But yeah, I didn't learn what I'm talking about in Yoruba language. So it's really difficult for me to interpret it into Yoruba and deliver it. But yeah, this is me trying my best. And then for English users, those that don't understand Yoruba, if I've done justice to the topic that I'm trying to do here is to discuss how to lose argument. And I said the reason why I put most of the time also so gulutu also oko sí ogulutu ó sọ oko òun sọ oko àmọ́ wọ́n sọ ogulutu ẹ ṣeun Sheikh Abdulgani that input. So that this kind of expression, I think you are trying to buttress the point on reversal. When people talk about sokosiyan, ó sọ̀rọ̀ sí mi nìyẹn. So you're all you are, ló sọ èmi náà máa sọ yàrá yà òkò sí ẹ. It's gonna be on personality. A máa wá sọ̀rọ̀ nípa ara wa, nípa ìjéèyàn wa, nípa ẹbí wa. A fi ọ̀rọ̀ tí a fẹ́ sọ gangan lẹ̀ a máa fi lẹ̀ tí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ nǹkan máa fi ń dìjà nìyẹn. But hey, if you look at Facebook, if you look at all these social media, that's why you can't really blame them, because I mean the way Facebook work, controversy is really profitable. It brings a lot of people to your channel, people watch your topic and all of that. So sometimes I really can't blame the way people handle this kind of argument. But ẹlòmíì wà lórí social media láti wá kẹ́kọ̀ọ́, ẹlòmíì ò ní ever ṣíwèé kan ọ̀rọ̀ tí wọ́n fi ń fèsì padà àbí báwo ni ọ̀rọ̀ yẹn ṣe jẹ́ gangan. Ìyẹn lè má kanu tírà mọ́, ìyẹn lè má kanu ìwé mọ́ tó ṣe wípé ní tọ́rọ̀ bá ṣẹlẹ̀ báyìí nìyẹn ṣe máa kẹ́kọ̀ọ́ pé àṣé báyìí ni kíní báyìí jẹ́. So nítorí àti especially àwọn tí wọ́n ń ṣe wá sí àìlè jíṣẹ́ lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Ọlọ́run nǹkan burúkú nífa géènì owó, but owó yẹn ń kọ́ at the end of the day kò síbi tíyàn ń kó lọ tíyàn ò bá ti lè jíṣẹ́ Ọlọ́run tíyàn gbé dání, àbí èèyàn fẹ́ sọ̀rọ̀ lórí nǹkan kan gẹ́gẹ́ bí akọ́nilẹ́kọ̀ọ́, ẹlòmíì náà tíṣà ni, tó o bá ti fókọ̀sì lórí tọ́pìkì tó ń fókọ̀sì lórí pé ẹwẹ́ nìyẹn wá borí wá kíláàsì mi, kò wá borí wá kíláàsì mi, àwọn nǹkan báyẹn wọ́n máa distract tíṣà gan fún rẹ̀. Adẹ̀rí báyìí lórí social discussion. Now, I was going to summarize it. The discussion, many people, as much as many people, we started by explaining the element of argument. I said the focus, the goal, what brings you into and what are you trying to achieve? It could be you want to persuade, it could be you want to convince people, it could be you want to make people do something, or you want to change their belief, right? So, and then we talk about each argue on. And I said the first one is blame. All right, blame usually leads to argument. When we are trying to blame, we are trying to know who is at fault, who is wrong, who is right, and things like that. And then the third one is when all we are discussing values, values, our source of our character, our personality, So sometimes I might think my own value is right while yours is wrong. So we argue on this, or something happened, and you religious perspective, some other person might be seeing it from humanitarian perspective. So this kind of thing clashes sometimes, or from a cultural perspective and then versus a religion perspective, or from a Western civilization perspective versus Eastern sense of value, So we argue on this. And then the last one is choices. We argue on, should I buy a Toyota, or it's Mercedes better than Audi? This kind of choices. Whenever an argument leads to crisis or conflict is because of the language we use in that argument. So, and I explained that there are three types of languages that you can use, three types of approach towards an argument. You could be demonstrative. And I said the demonstrative argument is very wrong approach. Demonstrative is all you are trying to do is to, when you are trying to prove to people why you are wrong, why they are wrong and why you are right. You are trying to that they are mistaken or they are wrong. You call them this kind of name. Or sometimes you try to use more of present tense. I'm telling you, I am telling you, and things like this. Okay. And that's also very bad is the forensic argument. When you turn yourself to an investigative journalist, sometimes you are looking for record, you are bringing back what they have said, you are looking at them based on what they believe in. So I'm telling you that the fact that somebody did not agree with you yesterday doesn't mean that they will not agree with you today. If you want to be judging that person with what yesterday, not on the topic, so that's forensic. To do that, you'll be using more of past tense. You said this. Past tense will be coming more from you. When you notice that, you want to switch your language. When you start by switching your language, probably it gets you closer to a more peaceful and a productive approach to argument. And what is that peaceful approach? That is the deliberative argument. So I said that deliberative argument is the argument of the future when we are focusing on common understanding. We are trying to achieve a common ground. I understand that I cannot be totally right, so as I can't be totally wrong. The person I'm talking to cannot be totally right. It can't be, or she can't be totally wrong. So I'm trying to see, where did I get it wrong? Where is he or she getting me wrong? So that will allow you to listen carefully, let their point sink in, appraise what good they said, and then debunk whatever you think you do not agree with. It's all acceptable, but don't blame them, don't label them. Okay. So, and I said, to be specific, I tried to enumerate 6 points. Actually, it's 12 points. So this week I'm going to be talking about 6, and then the next week I'll be talking about another 6 points of how to lose an argument. So the first one is assigning blame. Do away with assigning blame. I just said that now. And number 2 is, don't use your energy to understand the origin of the argument. Rama Tomawumi is saying true talk, doctor. Thank you for the comment. So sometimes you are all about who started it, who said it first, who did it first. Fault finding, when you're finding fault, especially who started this argument, then you are not going to get out of this argument productively. You are not going to change anything. You are not going to be able to persuade. You are not going to be able to influence people to take for the origin of the argument. Number 3, we said get historical. When you are being historical, bringing back what I've gone in the past. That was how you did. That's what you said to me. That's we all do this. We do this, including myself. So this is also a message to me as well. So don't bring back the past in an argument. If you do so, you are never going forward. So don't use past. Focus. What can we do better? What can we say better? What can be better? That's how to go about it. Number 4 is reading from record. And I said the reason why this is bad is that quote somebody, what somebody has said before in an argument, quote the words they use, but you can't bring the meaning. You can't bring the meaning. You can't bring the context. You can't bring the environment in which they have said it. And that's why you are going to be causing larger problem. When you remember, I have this argument with you before, and this is what you say. Let them say it. Don't be the one to say it. Even ask them a question. What do you think about this? So if they repeat it themselves, they will know that their belief is they still maintain that belief. But when I say, I know you don't agree with, I know you don't believe in, you are blaming that person. They will not agree. They will not. Number 5, absence of malice. Do away with malice, right? Malice will not allow you to appraise the person you are talking to. And if you don't appraise them, you are not going forward. And finally, possible to throw back what they throw at you. Like my good friend, brother Abdulgani said, I hope I'm getting the the name correctly. Like our big brother, our big friend here said that throwing back the stone, throwing back a stone to people in an argument will never get us to anywhere better. So that's going to be the summary or the conclusion of what I'm here to discuss today. I hope you all enjoy it. I hope you all learn something, because I do so much. I learn a lot from this kind of conversation, this kind of discussion. And if you have any comments, something that you think I should talk about that I didn't mention, please be free to comment on this video if you run across it either on Facebook or on YouTube or on Instagram, right? So inshallah, if you are live, we are going to be seeing ourselves next week, Friday. And I pray and I hope that we are alive and sound and healthy. I will be seeing you all next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Goodbye, everyone.